Hey everybody, good afternoon. I am Bonnie Barclay. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and owner of Creekside Counseling and Wellness in Knoxville, Tennessee. Um, Hopefully, if you're joining me live, just comment below. I'd like to know who's here. And if you're watching me later, do the same. I'd love to hear from you. So today we are going to start with the second part of my gratitude series. Looking today at reflection, gratitude, goal setting, and letting go. And hold on for the ride today because we're going to cover a lot of ground, and hopefully you will get something out of it. So, as I talked about last time, when we move into the holidays, it's just can be such a hectic time. It's such a busy time of year, and I think it's important to pause at times and reflect on the past year before moving forward into goal setting for the new year. So, as part of that process today, I want to talk about the difference between ruminating and reflecting, which I think is important to explore. So, self reflection is a tool that helps us approach life with a growth mindset. We've been talking about that, the difference between growth and fixed mindset. And that growth mindset means that we're purposely thinking about our experience with the intent of learning something. Ruminating, on the other hand, is when we think over and over about something in the past or even the future with with negative emotions directly linked to it. So, self-reflection helps us look at what we can learn, and ruminating replays it over and over. And it often manifests as those what ifs. Getting stuck in rumination is a challenge that we all face, but working to move past it is also possible and will help you move forward towards what you want, the goals that you want to set for yourself, the person you want to be. Knowing the difference can help you better manage your thoughts, especially any negative thoughts. And so I love this quote by Jessica Hicks, who is the managing editor of Thrive Global. And she says, reflection will brighten your future, rumination will keep you stuck in the past. So I want to take a moment to walk through this. So if you have a pen and paper, you can also just do it mentally, but just I'm going to walk you through you getting in touch with your own experience with this. Think back to a situation in the past year, a negative situation that you kept replaying in your head. And when we look at the level of distressing events that you're going to pick to do this exercise, on a scale of 0 to 10, please don't pick a 10. I want you to pick something maybe in the 2 to 5 range of distress level, but it was still something that made it hard for you to go to sleep or you were replaying over and over again in your head. Maybe it's something you said that you regret, a mistake you made, something you overlooked. And then I want you to ask yourself, did you take some time to review and reflect about what happened and look to the future with the realization that you may have made some mistakes and that mistakes can have a positive outcome? Or did you obsess over it, replaying every reason why things went wrong with no real purpose or direction? Staying in a place of negativity, self criticism, being stuck in the past. That ruminating, which can impact our mood and our sleep. So just take a second and reflect on that. Part of making this shift is self awareness. knowing your raw spots, what can trigger that ruminating or the overthinking. And this usually, guys, starts in our body before it goes to our brain. The body before the brain starts whirling, there's usually some kind of tension, maybe even feeling hot, the gut stress feeling, that sinking feeling in our gut, starting to feel low or sluggish. Awareness leads to power when we sense this, and then it allows us to implement strategies of curiosity, coping, and self care. Ruminating drives stress, and reflection builds resilience. Let this knowledge help you make this mindset shift a priority. So I want to do a real quick review of gratitude and before we go into the other areas. And if you didn't catch my video on the attitude of gratitude last week, try and circle back and listen. I'm going to recap a few things today, as gratitude is so important to goal setting for the next year, both personal and professional goal setting. If you don't want to scroll on the Facebook page, then you can always go to my YouTube channel and grab those videos. So gratitude and the practice of being grateful, it certainly can get lost in all the hustle and bustle of the holidays. And although this is a pleasant emotion, as I said last time, feeling grateful really has to be a conscious choice, a way of seeing and interacting with the world to live with an attitude of gratitude. We have to choose it over and over again. To cultivate an attitude of gratitude, we start with the intention to pay attention to the good things in life, the learning opportunities, our attitudes, and our behaviors. And it's easy, again, to pay attention to those good things when good things are happening. It's the learning opportunities that sometimes can get missed or overlooked. Practicing gratitude helps us to view life through a more positive lens, prioritizing positive thoughts over negative ones, and focusing on solutions rather than problems. And focusing on solutions can help us move more effectively into goal setting. Remember, gratitude also builds resilience and keeps us in a place of a growth mindset rather than a scarcity and fear mindset. I talked last week that while a gratitude mindset is good for us, that as humans, we are hardwired to dwell or fixate on the bad. Our brain is built for survival, scanning for danger. That's why we get stuck. I mean, that is why it's so important to make gratitude and reflection a priority over ruminating, making that choice over and over again. So let's now move to reflection and goal setting. Reflection's biggest value comes when you build a reflective habit through the lens of a growth mindset that is aligned with your values, using this as your guide to then define goals and objectives for the coming year. The growth mindset and these values are what anchor that process for you. The most common model for moving through this is the ERA model. So you take our experience using the process of reflection and then exploring what actions we want to take. I'm introducing this as a year-end type of practice, but my hope is that through this, you can see the value of developing this practice into a habit that you will then use throughout the year. Why? This process can strengthen your reflective skills and habits, so that process becomes easier, quicker, more natural, and more effective. It just becomes a part of what you do naturally. It will enhance learning and self-awareness. It allows you to be more purposeful about how you use your time and energy. And it will allow you to achieve progress in the direction you want toward the life that is right for you. The ERA model also allows you to reflect and reevaluate your goals and objectives throughout the year if this becomes a habit for you. allowing you to adjust and redefine things as needed as new learning occurs. Those goals should not stay stagnant. Goals should mirror your values and therefore represent things that are personally important to you, something you want to work towards. Okay, so now letting go. To fully embrace and learn to love your story, reflect on the chapters of your story already written. Think of this reflection process as identifying the seeds of the last year that you want to collect and plant for what you will become in the new year. Those seeds of learning. The seeds being all of your experiences, opportunities, learning moments. Acknowledge with a feeling of gratitude what you've received this past year and how you can use it to define your next step, the next chapters of your story. Then notice what you're ready to release, let go of, to allow space for these next chapters, for you to create something new. So what does this process of letting go and creating space look like? Well, we've already talked about reflection. Awareness is part of this process. So now I want to look at two other steps: grief and forgiveness, and number 2, acceptance. Letting go is about deciding to stop making the same mistakes and choosing to take a different path. It's been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I've been there, done that, and I agree myself. So let's look at grief and forgiveness as part of this process of letting go. As part of the reflection process, you may discover unmet needs, disappointments, including your own mistake or others' mistakes, that you may have to allow that this must have led to some hurt and pain and loss, and we've got to let that in. Allow yourself to grieve and forgive as part of the journey, whether that's forgiving you for those mistakes that led to hurt, pain, and loss, or whether that is forgiving someone else for those hurts that led to those negative emotions. This is part of the journey. Forgiveness is about letting go of the anger and bitterness in your own heart that may be holding you back. But guys, this is a personal process that may or may not include another person. And as you let go of this anger, consider whether or not you need to change your role and boundaries with someone, especially if that person is part of a repent, repeat process in your life that is no longer serving you or is continually hurting you. And I do think this is important as we enter into this holiday season with all the pressures and obligations that we feel we have to engage in. Sometimes those things aren't serving us. As you let go of anger around others, do you need to do the same for yourself? Forgiving yourself, having more compassion for yourself, letting go of mistakes, and now moving forward. Letting go of guilt, blame, even shame that may be holding you back as well. Letting go means facing the truth of the last year, the reality of it, and then reflecting productively on what we're going to do about it. Learning to make peace with it. Peace with your mistakes or someone else's mistakes. And this is important. You cannot let go of what you have not accepted. Let me say that again. You cannot let go of what you have not accepted. So this brings us back to the experience of shame and the 4 shame reactions: attack self, attack others, avoidance, withdrawal. To accept, then let go or release, we need to be able to mindfully reflect. This means reviewing without judgment. shining a light on our experiences, really sitting in it. Shame lives in secrecy, in the dark, the pages of our story we like to rip out and hide somewhere. Instead, pull those pages back in, shine a light, learn and grow. Love your story, all of it. If you want to master this process of letting go, then you must learn to accept everything as it is. Well, Bonnie, how can I accept them hurting me, getting fired, losing my house, or the countless other things that can go wrong or went wrong in this past year? Accepting does not mean you say, well, that is what it is. When you accept how it is, you can then take steps to change your situation or heal. It means you take in this truth of what happened, process it, acknowledge how it affected you, and then move forward. So here's the hard truth for today. Reflection can be both motivating and very difficult, even painful, when it comes to grieving and forgiving ourselves and others. There can be a lot to unpack. It's a learning process that requires our consistent time and attention to become the habit we need it to be to move forward with an attitude of gratitude and a growth mindset. And if you get stuck, help is available. Reach out. So the takeaways for today. I want to give you some basic reflection questions to get you started with this process, to challenge you to even begin. Number 1, what worked well for you this year? 2, what are you proud of? 3, what was your biggest challenge? 4, what did you learn about yourself? 5, are there things you need to let go of to help you simplify and focus more productively in the new year? Think of this as another step to creating space for the new. Are there things you need to let go of? 6, what do you want more of in this new year? What fills you up? What energizes you? How do you bring that in and really embody that as part of your goal setting? 7, what goals can you set to challenge you, push you outside of your comfort zone and toward thriving instead of surviving, toward living your full potential? 8, how can you turn inside, get quiet, and allow your intuition to guide your goal setting rather than outside pressures, cultural influences that may not be in line with what you want or need, your own value system? What do you need to grieve is number 9. Number 10, who do you need to forgive? And are you on that list? Do you need to forgive yourself for something? Have compassion. 11, what chapters have you ripped out due to shame? And how can you bring them back in with compassion so you can really work on loving your story? I hope that gets you started, challenges you, inspires you to really take a look at this, and I hope it can help transform this end of the year process to you for you so that you can begin setting some new goals. I hope it's something that will inspire you to make this a new habit. So I'm not going to do a Facebook Live next week, guys. It's Thanksgiving. My kiddos are coming in. I'm so excited. And I'm wrapping up some things with my practice to take some time off. I'll be coming back the last week of November. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't decided. I have a couple of ideas about what I want to do to wrap up this gratitude series. Hopefully, you will check back in, and I'll, of course, post what the topic's going to be several days before. Have a good rest of your day and week, and happy Thanksgiving. Bye.